All right, we're good. Hey, everybody, we're going to get started here. Welcome into the Burl Brew for Kentucky's matchup with the Arkansas Razorbacks. I'm Andrew Stefaniak, that's Carson Nash, and we are the Wildcats Today Podcast. Thanks, everybody, for being here for the game this evening. And getting right into it, obviously, Mark Pope, Kentucky's new coach, is getting ready to take on John Calipari, the guy that's been in Lexington forever, moved on to a new SEC school. Carson, Coach Cal got the best of Coach Pope last year in Rupp Arena. What are you expecting for Coach Pope's revenge this year?
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting a revenge game from the Cats tonight. We got to go out and hit on all cylinders because Arkansas is more talented. They're more athletic. They have the Jimmies and the Joes, and I'm not sure we do. So we're going to have to play a complete game tonight, and definitely not what we saw against the Commodores earlier this week.
Well, I mean, coming off the winning streak heading into the Vandy game this week, I think everybody was feeling pretty good about the way the Cats were playing, but we knew that this week was going to be a test on the road against two ranked ball clubs, and obviously Vandy got the best of Kentucky in Nashville, and it wasn't even really a ball game. I mean, the issues came back for Kentucky when it comes to effort. It seems like this team made little to no effort on any kind of long rebounds, 50-50 balls. That issue was back, and the issue of being down by double digits at halftime. This team continues to struggle in the first half of ball games, and Bud Walton Arena is one of the better venues in college basketball. If the Cats don't show up and announce their presence with authority early into the ball game, it's going to be a tough game to win on the road.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that starts off with Mr. Darius Acuff Jr. He is the guy for Arkansas. He's averaging almost 20 points a game. He has like a 7-to-2 assist-to-turnover ratio. He's the guy that orchestrates the offense. He's their scorer. He's the McDonald's All-American that Cal's been missing recently. Him and Malik Thomas, really, they go as far as they will take them. So shutting those two guys down or making them less efficient tonight is going to be a key. That means good perimeter defense and getting back in transition and trying not to turn the freaking ball over because that's going to give them a lot of open looks.
Assist-to-turnover ratio is obviously something to pay attention to for this Arkansas team. They take care of the ball and they create turnovers. Their assist-to-turnover ratio is 2.5, which is pretty dang good. If the Cats are giving the ball to the Hogs all night, it's just going to be another area where Arkansas has an advantage. And talking back about the players you were talking about, Acuff and Thomas, the two stud freshmen that we're accustomed to having here in Lexington, two players that have just been incredible for Arkansas. They're terrifying to think about having to go against these guys, what they've done in conference play, watching the Hogs take on Oklahoma in Norman earlier in the week. Acuff and Thomas were incredible. That was a tight game down to the finish. And at the end of the day, the two guys that won it for the Hogs in a tight one were Acuff and Thomas. So going to need to try and slow those guys down. But some of the games we've previewed earlier in the season, we talked about a couple of star players. This Arkansas team has a wealth of riches up and down the lineup. I mean, we talk about Carter Knox, a guy that was supposed to come to UK, great player. You talk about Billy Richmond, another guy that was going to come to UK. If you shut down Acuff and Thomas, they've just got 5 more guys that can beat you. So, Carson, how do you shut this team down as a whole, not just those two players?
You force tough shots for Acuff and Thomas. They're going to want to get downhill, play some isolation, pick and roll. They're going to get to the rack, but when they get to the rack, they're either going to take what they have, which means we have to play without fouling and stay in front of them, or they're going to kick it outside to Brazil or Billy Richmond, one of those guys in the corner to knock down some threes. So I think letting their secondary scorers take the majority of the shots would be a key for us tonight in taking home the victory.
Looking at this Arkansas team, it's a classic John Calipari coach team. They like to take the ball to the rim and use their athleticism, but they do shoot the ball well from three, and smart passes create good looks for Arkansas. They've got a lot of shooters on this team. They shoot 37.9% from deep this year, which leads the SEC percentage-wise. They're only shooting 23 a game. So they're not out here trying to beat you with a three, but if they're open, they're going to take it. And interestingly enough, we've had a big issue with coming underneath of ball screens. It's been a big issue for the Cats this year. They just, every single game, Colin Chandler specifically, loves to come underneath of ball screens. This Arkansas team, they don't really do ball screens. This Arkansas team, what they do is isolation basketball. We've seen it for years when John Calipari was in Lexington, and it's no different for this Arkansas team. A lot of their threes are in isolation, and you're going to see Acuff and Thomas take a lot of those. Brazil's going to be the guy that's going to shoot the three ball when he's open. You're not going to see him dribbling into a three a lot. But Acuff and Thomas, you have to play ready defense and keep hands up, because if you do not, they will shoot over you and they will make those shots.
And going back to my point, playing without fouling, you just can't pick up early fouls if you're Malachi Moreno or Ortega or Aberdeen, any of these guys, just because we're running on low depth. And the more that we foul and the more we get into that depth, the more Arkansas is going to pull away throughout the game, which another factor to me in this is going to be our depth has to step up and play better than it has before. That means Colin Chandler, we need you making threes tonight, shooting efficient. Jasper Johnson, we need you in the flow of the game, shooting efficient as well. We need some of these guys who are backups to step up and contribute tonight. And hopefully they come in with a chip on their shoulder, because I sure would after last year.
You know, there's another name, speaking of chip on their shoulder, there's a player that we haven't mentioned yet. That's DJ Wagner. I think a lot of folks in this building might have some interesting opinions on DJ Wagner, but he has slowly but surely gotten better over his college career. He still does some DJ Wagner-esque things game in and game out. But DJ's shooting the ball better. To continue the topic that we discussed a moment ago, DJ Wagner is just another one of the weapons that this Arkansas team has. Like, you know that DJ is going to come into this basketball game wanting to put on a show in front of the Arkansas faithful against his old squad. He walked into Rupp Arena last year and got booed. I get why. And at the end of the day, he's going to want to play well tonight. So your main concerns, and we're going to keep reiterating this, obviously the main concerns are going to be Acuff and Thomas. But if some of these secondary guys are killing you, it's just going to make it harder, because you know down the stretch of this ball game, Acuff and Thomas are going to show up just like they did in Norman earlier in the week.
Yeah, 100%. And so I'm looking for, like I said, some of our guys to step up. We have to play efficient and pass the ball and set hard screens. I've noticed that when we've been setting screens recently, we don't even hit the guy. We don't even really rub him. So they're able to trap us in the half-court offense, which slows our offense down tremendously and causes a lot of turnovers. So we need Malachi and BG when he's in to set some hard screens and let these shooters get open.
Agreed. And looking at, at the end of the day, what this ball game is going to come down to for Mark Pope and the Kentucky Wildcats is you have to show up and play your best basketball game of the season. It'll take nothing less to go beat a talented Arkansas team. Obviously, Arkansas's lost some games, questionable games. They've played some teams tight in SEC play, but at the end of the day, they're a really good team with elite-level talent. Like you said, they've got the Jims and the Joes at much higher of a rate than we do. So if Kentucky goes in and plays their best game of the season, they can win, but it's going to take that. And I think you got to play your best game of the season, and Arkansas's got to play that. Because, Carson, I think if we play our best game of the year and they play well, I still don't think we win that game on the road.
Yeah, I agree. I think it comes down to who wants it more tonight. And, we always talk about storylines on our podcast. I think a funny storyline is that Pope and Cal have the exact same records at 38-19 coming into this game at the respective schools. So this is kind of like the end-all be-all here to see who gets over that hump. So I'm really excited to see the fire that Pope and the rest of the team bring tonight.
And, talking about continuing on that point of storylines, if we remember correctly, when Coach Calipari came into Rupp Arena and beat the brakes off of the Cats, we saw the Hogs come in not playing good ball. They really weren't playing well. They were struggling in the SEC, and they ended up going on a run in the tournament. And I think if you ask a lot of Arkansas fans, we've got some in the comments right now on our live, if you ask some of the Arkansas fans, they would probably tell you that game in Lexington turned their season around. I don't think it's fair to draw the same comparison between these two ball games for the opposite teams, but I do think that it would be a massive momentum shifter for this Kentucky basketball team. Now, obviously, you're going into it shorthanded. Shaden Quaintance, not going to be out there today. You're not going to see Cam Williams on the floor. Connor, did you hear that? He's not playing tonight. Sorry.
Yeah, don't ask us later if he's playing.
You bet on? Where'd you bet on him? The black market? Okay. So obviously, Jalen Lowe, Cam Williams, and Shaden Quaintance are not going to be on the floor in this basketball game. You're going to need somebody to step up. Obviously, Otega always a guy that it could be. Denzel Aberdeen is a guy that it could be. But at the end of the day, one guy that keeps coming to my brain when I'm thinking about who's going to step up for Kentucky to pull out this difficult win on the road, I think it's got to be Colin Chandler, Carson.
Yeah, no, like I said earlier, I agree with you. We just need a spark, and I think three-point shooting is going to be the biggest thing for me tonight. If we're hitting threes, we can stay with them. But the more that we miss threes and turn the ball over, the more it's going to slip away and go to Arkansas's favor. I like Colin having a big game tonight, and like I said, I like Jasper having a big game. And Aberdeen and Owe need to play way more efficient than they did this week, and make the game easier to them. Kind of like Acuff and Malik Thomas, and they do. Like, let the ball come back to you. Don't be afraid to give up the ball in return of getting it back. So let's pass the ball. Let's make good decisions and pass up good shots for great ones tonight.
Obviously, we don't have much of a choice. If we're going to win tonight, you got to shoot the ball well from deep. I know that this team has gotten away from the Mark Pope style of offense that we got accustomed to last year and that we saw a lot when he was at BYU. They want to score down low more than they did in previous seasons and in previous years with Mark Pope as the head coach. But at the end of the day, if you're going to win a tough game on the road, you're just going to have to find a way to make some tough threes. Jasper Johnson and Colin Chandler are two guys that must step up from deep. Colin's the guy that I said I keep circling in this matchup, thinking he needs to play well for Kentucky to pull off the upset. But Jasper, in some of our more important wins, Jasper has shown up. He's been hot and cold throughout the year and throughout SEC play. But since Lowe went down, he's starting to play better and better. He's got to be physical because Coach Calipari, assuming he did game plan, is going to have his team play physical tonight. You really want to see Jasper make some shots. Obviously, in that win over Tennessee, Jasper scored some points. He was big in the first half, and Kentucky was able to stay in that game and find a way to win late. Jasper Johnson's going to be a big key in this one. And another player, Carson, that I want you to talk about for a second is Malachi Moreno. We talked about that on the way here. Why is Malachi Moreno playing well tonight so important for Kentucky to win this basketball?
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and look at every game, big game that we've won this season, Malachi has had a good performance. And I honestly don't even think that scoring matters that much for Malachi. It's the impact that he has on the offensive, defensive glass, forcing turnovers. And I think his rebounding is going to be crucial tonight. And I think if you can get him down low and let him distribute like we should be doing and kick the ball out to your open shooters, it makes it a whole lot easier for our offense.
No question. And I think the other thing Malachi Moreno playing well does for this team is keep Brandon Garrison off of the floor, which is another key to victory. Going to need that in this one. So Malachi, we talked about as he's progressed through his freshman season, and I mean, everything Malachi's done to this point in the year, he has already exceeded everybody's expectations for what he was going to do this season as a true freshman. But physicality has been questioned at times. If Kentucky wins, I keep giving you these ifs, but they're important. What we have to do to find a way to win on the road, Malachi has to play well. Brandon Garrison, this is just not a Brandon Garrison matchup. I think it is in the sense of he'll go and he'll go out there and he'll play with a lot of fire, but fire, burns down a lot of buildings. So we don't really need fire. We need points, we need shot blocking, and we need defense.
Yeah, I think my biggest key to the game is going to be starting off high. I think getting down there and letting their crowd get into the game after a couple of made buckets, that's a recipe for disaster, and that's how we've been down in 15 of the last 7 of the 8 games of Power 4 games. We've been down by 15 on the road or in a neutral site. So starting fast is going to be the biggest key tonight because you get behind down in Bud Walton, there's no coming back.
I think another thing, too, not X's and O's conversation that we're about to bring up here, but at the end of the day, Mark Pope at some point is just going to have to say, watch this, I'm winning this basketball game. He has been outcoached a handful of times this year. He has led Big Blue Nation to questioning his coaching, which is never something we thought we would question about Mark Pope with being his coaching. But there have been points in here where we have questioned it. And you're going against a Hall of Famer. You're going against a guy that won a national championship here in Lexington. At the end of the day, Mark Pope has to go out there and just look at it like, I can't lose tonight.
Yeah, it's part of that chip on your shoulder mentality that we're supposed to have. I would love for him to actually give a fired-up pregame speech today instead of just saying, yeah, go out there and have fun. But we got to have that kill or be killed mentality tonight going down there because it's going to be a raucous environment. It's a wide out. You know how they feel about Kentucky. So playing with that chip on your shoulder and not wanting to lose needs to be the first thing on our mind.
Well, yeah, Kentucky's coming to town. Why would it not be a wide out? Didn't someone say that before? Who said that? But, you know, somebody commented here, this is a good one. It says, I have a better chance of growing hair than Mark Pope beating John Calipari, and I'm slick bald. That's funny. I like that. But Mark Pope's got to beat John Calipari. If he can't find a way to beat him, it's going to be something because of this situation that is held against him to Kentucky fans. I mean, you got to go beat Cal. It was an ugly divorce, you know, with everybody leaving and all that, and you want to see Mark Pope go beat the guy that was there before him. So, I mean, and I agree with what you said about the pregame speech. I mean, we've talked about it before on the podcast. Many, many times we've seen some of Mark Pope's pregame speeches and left going, I mean, I just don't know how this guy makes you want to run through a brick wall. Nothing is more exciting than watching a coach give a pregame speech and you want to run through a wall. Mark Pope doesn't do that. And, I mean, maybe before the game he found a way to light a fire under the behind of his players before they go play the Arkansas Razorbacks in Bud Walton Arena. Those players would respond well to something like that. So it's a little thing. It's not something that's massive to the outcome of the ball game. But we talk about slow starts to ball games. We have seen it time and time again. And at the end of the day, maybe lighting the fire under his team is something that can lead to Kentucky coming out of the gate hot.
Yeah, I completely agree. Do you want to go ahead and give your prediction?
We got like 5 minutes.
Okay.
We got a little time.
Right.
I do want to talk a little bit about the front court and under a little bit with the four. I want to talk about Yelovich and Mo D. Of those two guys, who do you think is going to make the biggest impact knowing the type of team Arkansas is?
Honestly, I'm going to go with Mo Diabate tonight just because I think they have the better athletes than we do tonight. We're going to need that physicality down low. But I'm a Yelovich guy through and through, and I think he helps our offense. So I would like to see him run Yelovich out there for an extended amount of time just to see how he compares to Arkansas's athletes. But I'm going to go with Mo D tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the type of performance you need, and we're both big fans of Yelovich. We both believe that he's going to be a great player for the Kentucky Wildcats for a few years. But tonight we need athleticism, and we need somebody that wants to go out there and bust some behinds. And I think Mo Diabate is the guy for the Kentucky Wildcats in this game. But what that means for him is he cannot shoot threes. We do not want him to.
I don't even know if I want him to shoot the ball in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I could get behind him, taking the ball to the rim. He loves to miss shots, get his own rebounds, and put them back in. And at the end of the day, I think that he is a better rebounder than Yelovich by a wide margin, despite Yelovich being a taller player. So those two guys will play a significant role in this ball game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I think it also comes back to our star players need to step up and be star players tonight. Aberdeen and Oweh, even though Oweh had 20 earlier in the week, he wasn't efficient. He wasn't doing the things that Oweh had been doing on our 5-game win streak. So we need Aberdeen and Oweh to have an efficient, great game tonight for us to go down there and steal this victory.
And then I think rebounds are going to be really important as well. Obviously, if Kentucky gets dominated on the boards on the road, it's just going to be hard. We need to find a way to get extra possessions on the board. It's not something that we've done at a high level throughout the season.
Our turnovers. We cannot turn the ball over a lot against this team. They want to run. They want to make make big breakaway dumps and have the crowd go crazy, and that only helps them shut us out. So we can't have any of that.
Yeah, and like I said, the assist to turnover ratio is a part of the ball game that Arkansas excels at a high level. So you really need to see us take care of the ball and try and create some turnovers. They do not turn it over double digits. They turn it over 9 times a game. So you've got to value the basketball and see if you can take it away from the Hawks at the time. All right, you want to get into some score predictions?
Yeah, that works.
Nothing would bring me more joy. If anybody remembers, right when Calipari got hired, a video came out of him saying, "You're going to hate me because I'm going to come to your town and beat your team." It would bring me a lot of joy to make that video for Mark Public. But I don't think I'm going to pick that way. I think I'm going to let Carson bring the roof off this place, and I'm going to take Arkansas to win.
Yeah, I figured you were going to go that way. I don't feel great about this one, but like you said, Cal's favorite saying, we're going to come to your town and we're going to beat your team. I think he's on the bad end of that stick tonight. And I think the Cats go down to Arkansas and steal one from our old coach, Coach Cal. The Cats are going to win 78-74 and upset the Arkansas Razorbacks.
I love it. Yeah, I want to let Carson do that. I wanted to bring the gloom so he could bring the positivity. Thank y'all so much for being here today. Like we said earlier, if you don't know who we are the Wildcats Today Podcast. Appreciate everybody being here. The Burl is the best place to watch any sporting event or come for any apparent reason. We love this place. We're here always, even when we're not doing the show. Thanks for being here. Drink a lot of beer. I know we will. Enjoy the game. Go Cats. And we'll talk to y'all later.